Hi, I'm Lisa with Unlimited Book Reviews, and today's review is going to be for Trident Force Chronicles, Sentinel's Fall. You can see the cover here. It's written by Paul Big Gator 5 Richardson. So pretty fancy city look there. Stats on this book, it's in the genre fantasy superhero, so it's a superhero story. And the current rankings on Amazon.com and Amazon.ca under that genre are 3793 and 1407. So not too bad in the rankings. It is supposed to be a series. When you read the foreword by the author, he does talk about how this is the first book in a series. He talks a little bit about how it's written, which every chapter is like a different date, and it does hop around. It's not a sequential story, and he says to just kind of sit tight and read through it, and he's right. It works out. I think I'm guessing maybe an artsy way of writing, like kind of that way, but it hops around, but it still works out well at the end of the story. This is number 1 in the series, so this is introducing you to all the characters and the conflicts. It is 928 pages long, which I have to tell you, I had no clue it was that long. When I read it, I didn't feel like it was forced or dragging or, oh my goodness, when is this going to be over? By the time I hit maybe 30 to 50% into the book, I understood the characters, knew who everybody was, and it flowed very well. So the main characters in the book, we have our main Trident Force superheroes, who are Mantis Skin, Blue Star, and Red Spade. And then we have our secondary guys, who are Super Zoom, Hawk Fox Delta, Green Silk, and Chief Hiawatha. And I should correct that, Blue Star and Green Silk are both females, so even though I said guys, I meant this is our guys in a we aspect. So there are male and female superheroes in it. And the point of view, it is third person with point of view changes between them and additional people that are kicking around in the book. There's a lot of storylines going on. And I already mentioned how it skips around each chapter. So the book description. The Westgate Sentinel has been protecting Westgate City for 35 years and at one time was called the American Sentinel. With the exception of crimes of passion, petty robberies, and the sporadic challenge from a supervillain, the Westgate Sentinel has brought the criminal underworld of Westgate City to a standstill. Then the unthinkable happens. After a black teenager strong-arms a store, Westgate Sentinel captures the teenager and turns him into the WCPD. The teenager then mysteriously dies in police custody. Not only is the WCPD blamed, but so is the Westgate Sentinel. After mounting calls to have the Westgate Sentinel arrested and his benefactor sued, the Westgate Sentinel announces he will retire and he disappears. All hell breaks loose. Mobs, gangs, and every two-bit supervillain, all of whom held in check by the Westgate Sentinel, come out of the shadows to show Westgate City a horror they haven't seen in a long time, with a WCPD completely unprepared for the rise in crime. Will a new group of 3 heroes rise to the challenge to unite other heroes in the city, or will the new criminal underworld swallow the city whole? So that was the basic idea of the story. Now the plot and character development, you can't really just pin it down to one character or characters. It was more of a global development of the entire city and how they were dealing with things and how things were changing with everyone in the story. And as more and more people develop these superhero powers in one form or another, will the ones that use it for good outweigh those who abuse what they are capable of? At one point there was talk by someone saying, to someone whose kid was showing a new superpower, take him home and teach him right from wrong. You need him to be good. So it spans a timeline too in this book, I think from as far back as 1986 all the way to 2232. But the main Sentinel Fall event, the main event that's happening, is right around October and November of 2015 in the book. So the storyline, the originality was definitely there, some good suspense, lots of humor, drama and conflict, yes, mystery, yeah, lots of fight scenes and action. So the hero aspect of it, there are three main heroes, the Trident Force. They meet around 9, 10, and 11% into this book. And then they really clearly state that they've joined forces at 12% into the book. And then the secondary conflicts are introduced, a pretty big one right around 22% into the book. But there are multiple storylines happening. At least 5 other ones are happening in this book. So there's deaths, there's new people finding out about their powers. The darkness and gore is really very mild. There's nothing too major, no major triggers. Any romance in the book is very little. It's a secondary plot. It doesn't always end well, tends to be more something that pushes the whole entire thing forward. There was closure on this particular storyline to a certain extent, but definitely open to sequels, especially with all the different things going on. The writer is Paul Richardson. I called it intermediate and written in the third person just because I didn't consider it an easy read. A lot of that had to do with some of the grammar tenses in the verbs. That made it harder. It just wasn't quite right, and there were a few typos, so that could stand a little bit of work, but there are no weird inconsistencies in the storyline. You aren't left hanging at the end of the book or anything like that. It was hard for me to tell exactly how many books were by Paul Richardson, because I wasn't sure if there was more than one Paul Richardson out there. Some of the other books by Paul Richardson didn't seem like the same genre at all. So he's got this one. Maybe he'll watch this and let us know what's coming up next with this story and when the next one will be out. Did I like it? Yeah, I would definitely call it okay. It was a really good book. If you're really into superheroes, you would definitely like it. So quotes highlighted by the readers, there weren't any, so I picked a couple. Oh shit! He must have became a politician to destroy the future. Not the most effective route, I might add. Dr. William Killjoy. Hey, Saint Matt, remind me to tuck my costume in my boots from now on. Super Zoom said that. And then, can I have 5 minutes here with my teammates before you kill us? Red Spade while making the T timeout symbol with his hands when fighting a supervillain. So it definitely had some humor. Right now there's only one review on Amazon.com. It's a 5 out of 5 review by Marv from Mars, whose heading says, "Do comic book heroes racially profile?" The body says, a Superman-like character, Sentinel, has established law and order in a large fictional American city. A black kid who committed a crime dies in custody and all hell breaks loose. Is our Superman-like character to blame? Is he unfairly profiling? Did the police unfairly profile? The book is a commentary on real life, juxtaposing BLM and SJWs with old-fashioned comic book storylines and characters, and the obvious clash therewith. The book finished with a cool twist I didn't see coming. Recommend highly. Because this isn't really my lingo, I don't really know what BLM and SJW means, but if you're into comic books, I assume you will. But I definitely would like to hear your opinion if you read this book. Leave your comments below. Don't forget to like me and subscribe if this helped you in making a decision on picking this book up. And thanks for stopping by.